Is Chloe Bailey getting sued by a fellow songwriter? Did Drake finally gain a win over his Kendrick Lamar beef? Has Karen Huger finally gotten a reality check? Welcome to Pop Pulse's Weekly Dish, where we serve you all the latest news in pop culture, reality TV, and more. All right, y'all. Chloe Bailey is being sued for copyright infringement over 3 of her songs from her sophomore album, Trouble in Paradise. The singer-songwriter Melvin Moore, known professionally as Forrest, is claiming that he was never properly credited, compensated, or even informed that his work had been used on Chloe's album. He's accusing Chloe, producer Bongo, and others of misappropriating his contributions and fraudulently registering the song under their own names. So according to Forrest, the songs in question, Same Lingerie, Might As Well, and Favorite, were deeply personal and inspired by his own past relationships, emotions, and struggles. So Rolling Stones reached out to Forrest and the following statement was given. My journey as a songwriter has been one of the immense struggles and perseverance. I've faced homelessness for 2 years, only to achieve home ownership 17 years later. These experiences have shaped my resilience, but even after overcoming these obstacles and achieving success, I find myself still fighting for basic fairness and how I am compensated for my work. Many songwriters, producers, and artists are routinely underpaid and mistreated, their talents exploited under the false promises of opportunity. This cycle must end. It's time for the industry to acknowledge the value of creatives who bring the music to life and compensate them fairly. This fight is for all of us. So this is where it really gets heated. Forrest claims his legal team reached out to Chloe's camp in good faith, hoping to quietly resolve the issue, but instead they were met with delays and avoidance. And he's also claiming that Chloe ignored a cease and desist order when she went ahead and performed 2 of her songs on her social media. Now, Forrest is not the only one speaking out about the situation. Grammy-winning songwriter and founder of 100 Percenters, Tiffany Red, also stepped in and taken to social media to show support of Forrest and explain how she got involved with the situation.
So last month, I took on a case for a songwriter named Forrest. You may remember, or you may not have seen it. There were some videos that I made about this situation on across my platforms. So here's the situation. Forrest created 3 songs, 2 of which he wrote for another artist that he wrote himself. He created these songs with a producer named Bongo. Bongo was working on Chloe Bailey's last album, Trouble in Paradise. Bongo took the songs, recorded them on Chloe Bailey. Parkwood and Columbia released them. Forrest was not compensated for his work. The splits weren't complete. They registered the copyright in their name and not his. I mean, it's a mess. Now, for 200 days, Forrest and his attorney, Tiffany Morgan, went back and forth with Chloe Bailey's team and Bongo's team. And literally, it went nowhere. They weren't willing to pay Forrest what it was that he was asking for. And honestly, if you guys knew the numbers, you would be like, what? It's ridiculous. So after 200 days, I got involved. Y'all saw me starting to talk a little shit about this online. I was a fly on the wall in one of the phone calls between Jeremy Moore, who was Chloe Bailey's attorney, and Forrest and his attorney, Tiffany Morgan, where Jeremy Moore told Forrest and his lawyer that he didn't need his consent to release his music. Very, very horrible. And so once this got to a place where it was like, I think we need a litigator, I rung up my buddy Tyrone Blackburn and we all got to work. Now, this case was this close to settling, but that damn Jeremy Moore. So they sent over the contracts. The contract was only between Bongo and Forrest. We said for the millionth time, Forrest does not work for Bongo. Why? What is Chloe Bailey signed to Bongo? What is going on? Why is our business going through Bongo? Tiffany reaches out to Jeremy. Jeremy doesn't respond. Then when Jeremy does kind of respond, he's only talking to the team through Motisla, who is Bongo's lawyer. Like, what is this? So after 200 days, a demand letter that went out last month, they knew this litigation was coming. They decided to continue to do business like this. So a lawsuit was filed.
So let's talk about what Forrest is actually demanding in the lawsuit, which he also names Parkwood Entertainment, Columbia Records, and Sony Music as defendants. Forrest is seeking $15 million in punitive damages, along with a full stop of any further commercial use of the songs, a deep dive into how much revenue defendants made from the tracks, repayment of all profits earned from the alleged unauthorized use, and proper songwriting credits. All right, so this is where it gets a little interesting. I did a little bit digging on Spotify. I wanted to see if he was credited on the songs, and I wanted to listen to what they sound like, right? And to my surprise, his name is on two of the songs out of the three. My question is, if he wins this lawsuit, would he get 15 million? I highly doubt it. If you check the numbers of the three songs, not one of them has yet to reach 1 million streams. So if he does win in this case, he'll most likely win from just one of the songs. And I'm really curious to know, did Chloe know about this all along, or did her team mislead her? What do y'all think? Do you think Forrest has a case? All right, y'all. So let's talk about Drake and his lawsuit and him possibly walking away with the win. So we all know Drake and Kendrick Lamar's beef went crazy last year, with both rappers trading diss tracks left and right. But let's be real, Kendrick shut it all the way down when he released Not Like Us. Now, this is where it gets messy. In the song, Kendrick throws out some serious accusations insinuating that Drake has a thing for underage girls. And let's be clear, that's not just a diss, that's a career damaging allegation. But was it coincidence that Drake only decided to sue once it was revealed that Kendrick got a Grammy nomination? And let's not forget, Drake is no stranger to rap beefs. He's gone head to head with Meek Mill, Pusha T, and plenty of others. But did he sue Pusha T when he exposed that Drake had a secret child? Nope. And you want to know why? Because Pusha's track didn't get the kind of mainstream airplay that Kendrick's did. So what's Drake suing over? Drake's legal petition claims that iHeart took payments from Universal Music Group to boost the airplay of Not Like Us. So he's basically accusing them for pay for play, arguing that the song was getting pushed unfairly. But here's the kicker. As of February 20th, the lawsuit has been settled. Both parties came to an amicable solution according to court documentation. Drake's legal team put out a statement saying, "We are pleased that the parties were able to reach a settlement satisfactory to both sides, and we have no further comments on this matter." But let's be real. Was this lawsuit even necessary? I have to ask, is Drake being a hypocrite here? Because let's not forget, he got a Grammy nomination for a diss track for Back to Back in 2016. And did we hear about Meek suing over airplay bias? Nope. So was this really about fairness, or was Drake just salty that Kendrick diss track got so big? What do y'all think? Was this lawsuit legit, or was it just a sore loser move? Let's talk about it in the comments. Basketball Wives star Jennifer Williams is back in headlines, only this time it's not about her, but her husband Christian Gold. Gold is facing a lawsuit from 21 plaintiffs who claim he ran an alleged Ponzi scheme. And according to court documents filed in Atlanta, Gold misled investors with promises of lucrative opportunities, only to use their money to pay off previous investors instead of making real investments. The lawsuit accuses him of multiple fraud-related offenses, including wire fraud. And the plaintiffs are seeking $120,000 in damages, plus interest and legal fees. Now, this isn't the first legal issue that Gold has faced in the last year. Just last September, he was jailed for violating parole. Now, you're asking, why was he paroled? Well, he was previously served 30 months for false imprisonment. Question is, does Jennifer know about Gold's alleged wrongdoings, or was she blindsided by the lawsuit? More in reality news, and this one you guys heard about already. Housewives of Potomac star Karen Huger has been sentenced to 2 years in prison. So to recap, Hugo was arrested for a DUI and car accident back in 2024, but she was consistently denying that she was under the influence, claiming she crashed her car due to a deer running into the road. However, in December, a judge found her guilty, and soon after, damaging body cam footage surfaced showing exactly what happened and how she interacted with law enforcement. Huger attempted to have the footage thrown out, but because this wasn't her first DUI, Yes, she has 4. Her request was denied. During sentencing earlier this week, the judge expressed deep disappointment, calling out her history of using celebrity status to avoid consequences and even checking into a luxury rehab resort instead of a legitimate treatment program. In the judge's final ruling, Huger has to serve 1 year in prison, 5 years probation, pay $2,900 in fines, and have her driver's license revoked for 1 year. Despite the surprising sentence, Huger reportedly remained composed, stating, "This is very frightening, but I accept full responsibility for everything that went on with my car accident. And no, I'm not an alcoholic, let's be clear." Before being led away, she turned to her husband Ray Huger and reassured him, "You'll be all right. God's got you." And her family was seen in the courtroom hugging and crying. In recent months, Huger has opened up about her struggles, attributing her personal issues to the loss of her parents, depression, and the pressure of fame. Meanwhile, Huger's Potomac co-stars were left stunned by the sentencing. Giselle Bryant shared on her podcast, "I'm concerned for her safety. She's not made for jail." And Dr. Wendy Osefo admitted, "My jaw dropped. I couldn't believe it. At the end of the day, we may have our differences, but I always wish her well, and I'm just keeping her in my prayers 100%. What are your thoughts on Karen's sentencing? Too harsh or long overdue? Tragedy has struck Hollywood this week with the loss of Roberta Flack, Gene Hackman, Michelle Trachtenberg, and Angie Stone. The music world is mourning the loss of Roberta Flack, the 5-time Grammy Award-winning R&B and folk singer who passed away at the age of 88. Flack rose to fame after Clint Eastwood featured her song "The First Time I Ever Saw Your Face" in his 1971 film Play Misty for Me. The song became a massive hit, earning her a Grammy win for Record of the Year. And just a year later, she cemented her place in music history with another Grammy-winning classic, "Killing Me Softly." A classically trained pianist and vocalist, Flack's influence stretched across decades, blending soul, jazz, and folk with effortless grace. Now, in 2022, she revealed her ALS diagnosis, which tragically left her unable to sing. While the official cause of her passing has yet to be announced, she was reportedly surrounded by family and friends in her final moments. Her voice and artistry and her timeless music will live on. So this one hits harder for older millennials. Michelle Trachtenberg, beloved for her role for child detective Harriet the Spy, has tragically passed away at the age of 39. She was found unconscious in her New York City apartment by her mother, and despite the efforts of medical personnel, she was pronounced dead at the scene. While the cause of death has been officially ruled undetermined, Michelle's family chose to forego an autopsy. It's been reported that she had recently undergone a liver transplant and that it may have played a role in her untimely passing. Michelle made her mark on the big screen as the iconic Harriet the Spy in 1996, and a role that captured the hearts of many. But her fame didn't stop there. She also starred as Dawn Summers in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and most recently became known to a whole new generation as Regina George on Gossip Girl. Her passing has left many in shock, and tributes have poured in from her former co-stars. The one that really tugs at the heartstrings, though, comes from her Harriet the Spy co-star Vanessa Chester, who she shared in the emotional message remembering her. "This is a tough loss, and we'll always remember Michelle's bright, unforgettable presence on screen." Oscar-winning actor Gene Hackman has passed away at the age of 95. In a shocking turn of events, Hackman, his wife Betsy, and their dog were all found dead in their Santa Fe home on Wednesday. Authorities quickly deemed the scene suspicious and launched an investigation into the cause of their deaths. Hackman was a late bloomer in Hollywood, but once he hit the scene, he dominated, from his breakout role in Bonnie and Clyde to his Academy Award-winning performance in The French Connection, and of course, his legendary return as Lex Luthor in the Superman series. Though the official cause of death has yet to be confirmed, early speculation suggests that carbon monoxide poisoning may have been the culprit. This is truly a devastating loss for the film industry. Hackman was a once-in-a-generation talent whose presence on screen was unmatched. The music world has tragically lost another icon. Neo-soul pioneer Angie Stone has tragically passed away at the age of 63. The beloved singer was involved in a fatal car crash early Saturday morning while on her way home from a performance in Mobile, Alabama. Though her bandmates survived, Angie was the only fatality. Angie Stone was a powerhouse in the neo-soul movement, blessing us with the classic hits like "No More Rain" and "Neither One of Us." Her rich, soulful voice and heartfelt lyrics made her a staple in R&B, and she even gave fans a glimpse into her life on R&B Divas Atlanta. The Grammy-nominated artist leaves behind 2 children, her daughter Diamond and son Michael. This is a heartbreaking loss for the music industry and fans worldwide. Angie's legacy will live on through her timeless music and the impact she had on soul and R&B. Thanks for joining us on Pop Pulse for this week's dish. If you enjoyed the scoop, hit like, drop a comment, and subscribe for more juicy recaps, and we'll see you next week.
So clank-de-clank, clank-de-clank.
Really?
The bar soap?
Yeah.
You might want to help your husband.